Most creators are missing this one ingredient in their content that is preventing them from releasing stuff that is great. And that is, your content is an argument for change. If you do not know what you want people to do through your content and work, it's harder to motivate yourself to do the work because you don't feel like it matters. And you're not giving people a reason to listen, read, or follow you. Even worse, because you are not moving people forward in their lives, in their businesses, in their careers, it's hurting your reputation and business. You become irrelevant if this happens enough because there's no great reason to change anything, to do anything different. There's so many things vying for our time that we'll just do something else. Imagine the difference your work makes in people's lives. What if you knew for sure that your latest episode helped people immensely live a better life? Would you put off doing the work because you didn't feel like it, or would you show up more fired up, more confident, more empathetically because your work mattered and had an impact? In today's episode of Creators That Crush, we will discuss the reason people consume content at all, the 3 ways to make your content, quote, good, and the number 1 thing you can work on to help people love your stuff. Because when you see your content as persuading people into action, your life and career changes. Welcome to Creators That Crush, the show that helps you move from crushed to crushing it as a creator. I'm your coach and host, Shawn Buttner. I help content creators that struggle with imposter syndrome, perfectionism, and anything else that impacts their confidence in their content business. Let's jump into the episode. The first thing we're going to do today is answer the question, why consume content at all? And the reason is to change. Recently for me, I've been working with Kevin Chemdalin at Grow the Show, and his whole mission and the content he creates, the coaching he does, is to help you have a successful podcast and business. So for me, before in the Meaningful Revolution, which was the iteration of the podcast before Creators That Crush, I thought that if I made a great show, people would show up. I was doing the solopreneur thing and emphasis on solo, and the audience growth was super slow, and I felt like I was using the force to grow my audience on the podcast and for my coaching business. So after working with Kevin, I created Creators That Crush, and I now know that if I have a strong premise or argument that the audience will grow, that I'm a solopreneur, but a lot of the net gain in the audience and in my business is making friends with other solopreneurs or other businesses or other folks. And this has resulted in me 10xing my audience growth, having a more engaged audience, and I'm using proven thinking habits and strategies to set the show up for success. So the takeaways from this little story here is that your content is an argument for change. So if your content isn't performing out in the world, you are not doing a great job enough of persuading people to change from your content. This show premise is all important. So this podcast hopes to persuade you to crush it more as a content creator and not feel like you get stuck or you're struggling and there's no way forward, or to feel like you've plateaued and you can't improve. That's the argument I'm hoping I'm making clearly in this show. I'm still working through it. We all are continually working to get clarity. But second thing to take away from this is influence and persuasion comes from people you trust. So I hired Kevin to teach me because I'd seen some YouTube videos, and when he made his offer for coaching, he's helped like over 400 podcasts become successful. So he's done this exclusively time and time again. And instead of winging it, I wanted that expert help. If you think about your life before we move on from here, every single person that you think has been very influential or very much a role model in your life has had influence and persuasion, right? You've trusted your parents, you've trusted teachers, you've trusted your coach. You've trusted so many different people. But if you're like, who is the person that influenced me the most in my life? You're going to find that when you're answering that, you're like, oh, this person taught me how to think about myself, about relationships and other people and how they relate, or how you see the world. So, how does content help us change? Let's answer that question. There's 3 ways. Content triggers our psychology, helps us build trust, and then actually delivers value to us. Basically, there's 3 different components. I was checking out a video that I'll link below here that generally talked about this. But persuasive content will hook the right people so that your people see it. The people that your content is right for, they'll be like, okay, this is for me. And hopefully, if you're listening to Creators That Crush, you're a creator that is struggling and trying to break through, and we're giving you ideas and strategies and tips on how to do that, right? So that's the hook. It provokes a desired emotional response. You want your audience to feel something, right? That's why nearly any big creator will have a signature story, or a lot of people talk about storytelling in content because that's how you get people to feel. If I ran off a bunch of facts about the creator economy, your eyes would glaze over, roll in the back of your head, and it would not work at all. But if I tell you a story about how I've been struggling as a content creator with my podcast and how I hired someone and how it changed for me, just because I adopted the philosophy that I'm trying to persuade you to be a creator that crushes, it hits a little bit differently, doesn't it? So you want people to feel, right? So you hook the right people so they see, you provoke desired emotional response so they feel, and then you move people into a mutually beneficial action. So they do something different. They behave differently. They show up differently. And I want to point out, this isn't in a sludgy salesperson type way. You have to really help someone show and paint the picture of why taking action is really good for them. You have to genuinely care, in my personal opinion. Because if you don't care, that's when you get into that weird, salesy, Jedi mind trick stuff that everyone hates, quite frankly. So, the question for you is, if you look at the last 3 pieces of content you released, how is it grabbing the attention of the right people? How is it getting those people to feel something? And how is that feeling leading them to take a beneficial action for them? I say this because this is something I'm currently working on right now. So this isn't from a high and mighty place. I am doing the work right now with you, and I'm trying to be open about where I'm at in the process. So content that helps us change also helps us connect at a character and trust level. So trust is one of the hardest components to build and one of the easiest to lose, as the sayings go. I want to tell you a story about a seminar I went to with my man, Brendan Burchard. And so I think this was High Performance Academy, roughly 2009, 2010. We're there Friday night. He has a guest speaker, personal development, Debbie Ford, who talks about shadow work, or she talked about shadow work. And she's doing a 1-hour talk to close up the first night of the seminar. And so I'm sardined in with 300 or 400 other folks in this ballroom at a hotel. And it's dark out and the air conditioning's blaring. It's cold and kind of dark. Stage lights are super bright. And Debbie Ford shows up on stage and starts talking about her stuff and introducing herself. And then almost like a lightning bolt or something snapped. She zeroes in on this woman that's sitting in the front of the audience. And it's this short woman. She's got black hair, I believe, with a streak of blue in her hair. This person who has a captive audience of 400 people is being called out by a public speaker and says that this person is unoriginal, is unprofessional, is just attention seeking with the streak of blue in her hair. And really, for 15 minutes goes after this random stranger who I don't think she had ever met before. You can feel how tense the audience gets as she's going really hard. And I remember thinking, like, I need to make sure that that person's okay, because this is not okay. I remember thinking, if this is how Brendan Burchard events are going to go, I don't ever want to go to this again. And so almost like 15 minutes goes by, almost like that switch flips off, and she carries on with her presentation like nothing had happened. But the tension in the audience is there, and everyone's super quiet. And so she finishes, and Brenner goes on like, okay, hey, we're gonna be back here tomorrow. Get out of here, everyone. It's like super late. This is where the trust and character can make or break you as a creator. The next morning, Brendan comes in. He's like, hey, everyone, welcome. He's got music playing. He's like, hey, I want to address something before we move on with the seminar. Something I had planned, but yesterday we had a guest speaker signal out someone in the audience. Would that person raise their hand, please? And this woman, now wearing a ball cap kind of as a helmet, brim, weight hat, like sitting on the tip of her nose, trying not to be noticed by anyone after this horrific thing the night before happened to her, very meekly raises her hand, and he brings her up on stage and starts asking her questions. He's like, hey, I don't think it was right what happened last night. Why do you have a streak of blue in your hair? And she goes, it's to remind me that I'm powerful, and it's to remind me that I'm creative. I've taken a big chance, and was a reminder that I was doing something brave. And he goes, that is brave, and you are creative, and everyone here sees it. And everyone, like, standing ovation for 15 minutes. Everyone's yelling and shouting as this poor woman with the hat down to the tip of her nose is crying on stage, but is touched, right? And it was that moment where I'm like, okay, this person who put together this seminar, this creation, is the real deal. That took a lot of integrity to not paper over it and just get back to what he was doing, but to slow down everyone and say, hey, that wasn't right. Let's do something as a group to fix this, to give this person some love so that we can move forward. And I remember the sense of relief and release as everyone was cheering and yelling for this person and clapping and jumping and all that. And it made me a lifelong fan of Brendan. It was that particular moment where, as an introverted guy in a seminar environment, I'm like, this is somebody that I could follow. This is someone that has integrity. This is someone that has character, and the character that I hope to be, right? I hope to aspire to those values. And so that built immense trust, and I'm sure Brendan had 300 or 400 lifelong fans come out of that one event because of how he handled it with care and what I think was the right way. And so that's the power of being and living with integrity, having a strong character that's not compromising, and connecting with the audience. So how is your content helping you build trust? Where are those moments where you are speaking out for your audience when there's that tension, or when they need that release, to have permission to cheer on someone got unfairly picked on in this particular instance? That's the power of trust and character, and I wish this for each and every one of you creators. So how is your content helping you build trust? Hey there, are you a creator struggling to stay focused, to get ahead, or to better influence your team or customers? Do you need more advanced tools and strategies for becoming more productive, influential, and successful? Well, I'd love to help. I'm looking for 5 new people to guide through my high-performance coaching process. This means I'll work one-on-one with you to break through your barriers and help you reach your highest potential and performance in all you do. All you have to do to qualify is In the show notes below, or you can go to ShawnButtner.com/apply, as you fill out a questionnaire for a free creator strategy session. After you fill out that application, you'll be prompted to schedule your free call. And yes, really, I'll help you for free on this. On our first call, I'll share with you what I've learned about the world's most accomplished and influential creators. I'll give you 5 principles you can use to better master your mind, body, and ability to be more productive and influential every day of your life. It starts by filling out that application. I look forward to working with you. Let's make this your breakthrough year. And so that you know, I have 5 open slots. So as soon as those are filled this month, I'll have to close this down. So don't hesitate. Go to ShawnButtner.com/apply to apply for your free strategy session. This ends the business section of this part. All right. So the third part of persuasive content is that, and the main part of it is that it actually helps people. It helps people make decisions, because decisions are inherently emotional, and when thought and emotion conflict, emotion is wired to win. So in the story, sitting in that seminar with Brendon Burchard, I knew what was happening was terrible. I felt like if I spoke up, I'd become a target of this really mean woman who was, for all intents and purposes, not doing something not cool and signaling out someone in the audience. So I didn't feel safe to speak up. And that haunts me a little bit. But what Brenda did that was masterful is helped rectify. I knew that that was wrong. I wanted to show support, and he got the whole community to show support for this woman. So how is your content helping people feel into a mutually beneficial action, or something, an action is beneficial for them? Persuasive content also helps us be or do differently. Like I was talking about with Kevin, he helps people create and have a different type of podcast, a profitable business with a podcast as the driver. Or Brendan inspires people to become high performers and to live with integrity. So how is your content helping people think, be, or do better? Again, if you went back to the last 3 pieces of content you created, what are your call to actions? Or how are you challenging your audience to think differently, to show up differently, or to live and be better? And I think if you find that you're lacking there, that's a huge unlock for your content. So you want to make sure that you are thinking about how content helps you change. You're going to be thinking about the psychology unlocks that need to happen that help people see your content, help them feel certain ways so that they do something different. You want to create content that develops and builds trust and character, and you want to actually help people live better, be better, do better through the things that you make. I hope you loved this episode as much as I loved creating it for you. I hope you could sense the energy in my voice talking about this. It's really fired up doing this. If you really did love this, please go to Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review and a comment. I'll look those over. I love seeing how the community helps the show grow, helps me out. And if you need some help and you're feeling stuck, burnt out, or that your momentum's fading, I do have those 5 strategy sessions for content creators to help you get clear, focused, and back into flow using high performance tools that are proven. So if you want to create with more energy, purpose, and impact, again, you can go to the show notes below or go to ShawnButtner.com/apply. And let's make this your breakthrough year, guys. I hope this helps you think through your content a little bit more, and we'll see you in the next episode of Creators That Crush.